Stressful time for the police lately. Hi, everybody. Nice to have you. This is Wednesday, 25th of February. We were originally slated to have City Manager Shasa Curl. She had to cancel at the last minute, but has sent forward responses to the questions you sent. And what I think we'll just do is follow up with any questions that you would like me to forward, or you can directly forward them. I do see we have law enforcement here, a couple of law enforcement from the RPD. And we have Caesar, who I think can field a lot of these questions. We'll move forward with that, and then we'll just follow our regular order. And then once again, anybody who has follow-up questions, I think we can just go ahead and if Caesar can't handle them or field them, just feel free to send them to me at the same email, and she has asked if she can come back in March, but it's likely to be April because we have a time sensitive commitment for our March meeting. So it is now a little bit late at 7:33. I would like to call the meeting to order and ask for approval of the minutes that were sent out by Anna. Did anyone find any errors in the in the minutes that we need to correct? Okay, I move that we accept the meeting minutes and start
Second,
today's. Thank you, Edie. We're going to start with Officer Ignat. And the good thing is, Officer Ignat said that he's not on a tight schedule. And Michelle, if you'll chime in, if you just got here, Shasa had to cancel. So we actually have quite a bit of time to just be a community and talk about the things with the public officials that we have that we would normally talk about if we were sitting at a coffee shop or riding our bicycles or whatever. Officer Ignat, welcome. We're happy to have you. We know it's been a contentious time for RPD, and we're grateful that you're here today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think this is my first meeting of the year, so I hope everybody's year has been off to a good start and everything is going well. Um, I'll jump right into the crime stats for the month. We are up 3% as far as total calls for service at a total of 179 for the past 30 days. The top calls for service that we did have were 20 911 disconnects, 9 415s, which is just a disturbance, some type of disturbance, 9 suspicious vehicles, 8 abandoned vehicles, 8 welfare checks, 7 police miscellaneous calls, and 6 audible alarms. Of these calls, 22 were incident reports, and the majority of those being thefts, vandalisms, and vehicle thefts. They're still targeting Kias and Hyundais. So if you have those type of vehicles and you have the ability to park it in a garage or somewhere underneath the camera in case something does happen, we have some follow up that we can do. Otherwise, typical things you can do: get a steering wheel lock, make sure your vehicles are secured. At the end of the night. Um, by locking it. Some people leave vehicles unlocked accidentally. Just ensuring you do that if you own one of those type of vehicles. We've also had 4 copper wire thefts. That's been a big thing. Typically, it's occurring in the evening time. So if you see anything that looks suspicious, you guys are our biggest allies. We drive through, we do routine patrol, but if you see something that looks alarming to you, it doesn't hurt to call, and then we can take it from there to see if it's actually something that needs to be handled or not, but it doesn't hurt to call. And then we've also had some slideshow activity picking back up in the area. So if you see anything like that, a lot of those times, those slideshow, the people who participate in those can be dangerous and don't um, tend to go down quietly. So if I wouldn't get involved in anything like that, that would just be a call and drive on by. I wouldn't try to block a car or get engaged in any type of way with those if you see anything like that going on.
Thank you, Officer. May
And
I ask
that's my
where the
yeah.
copper wire thefts were? Are
Um,
they in one
Off the top of my
particular?
head, I know there was one like East Richmond and Tewksbury.
Always.
Yeah, and
Thank
then I
you.
think there was another one maybe on Railroad.
It is copper wire season. The copper wire is in bloom, along with the flowers. Last year, this time we had we had 5 copper wire thefts in 6 weeks just on nickel. So we need to keep vigilant until the city can continue to harden those. They are, maybe that's quite possibly why we had a power outage in the old part of Point Richmond this morning. I'm sorry, did I cut you off, Officer Ignan?
No.
Okay.
What I was gonna say was they did target more towards Western as well. Some of the
Yeah,
copper does.
they love it here. PG and I'm sorry, PG and E. Yeah, it's PG and E. And AT&T, I'm sorry, told me that this is their highest area of theft. Just stunning, considering you would think it would be in more rural areas. Richmond is 50 square miles. A lot of that is road that nobody sees. Hello, Mr. Anderson. And but they love it. Uh, and do you feel that there is some connection between these copper wire thefts and the uptick in activity under the freeway? Because in the past, it's a definite fact that that activity, that wire's been dragged under the freeway and burnt.
From my personal experience, I haven't seen a connection, but like you said, a lot of it is found over there, whether someone else is bringing it and having someone else sell it, being middleman. I'm not sure of the what it is because the vehicles don't match. Sometimes when we do get a suspect vehicle description of that area where a lot of the homeless people or people in campers and different things that are related, the vehicles don't match up, so I can't say for certain.
Thank you. Michelle, do you have any comment on whether or not we're seeing the detritus of copper wire theft?
So we are seeing some copper wire theft. I think it's something that's happening in the point and it's happening all over the city. And one of the things that we recently did, and we had some conversations with Sims Metal yesterday. I was actually able to have some conversations with them, 2 days ago at the chamber meeting about ways that we could be able to again work with some of our copper metal our metal theft not metal theft our metal retailers to make sure that we are working closely with them, and if someone is bringing in some of this copper metal wire that they're alerting us so that we have better relationships and we're able to work on those things. But we have seen some pickup in the area. Unfortunately, our public works crews often see these things. And so we put out some bulletins to neighborhoods, including the point and some other areas late in December, just to try to, let people know that there were some increases in the area. I don't have the updated stats on that. One of the things I can do is talk to our crime analysis division. And so I can get kind of an overview of the last 6 months and what we've been seeing over the last 6 months. But there was definitely an uptick around November, December of last year.
Thanks, Michelle. And I always put these notices on social media. I only have Nextdoor. So I was screaming at everybody to pay attention last year during this rash. And the very night I posted it, somebody stole the copper wire from directly in front of my house, outside of my open bedroom window as I slept. So, and I'm a lightsaber, so they're really quiet. Thanks. Does anybody else have any questions for Michelle? Are you going to stick with us for a little while, or?
Yes, I'm able to stay for a little while and answer any questions that people have. I would be happy to.
And for Officer Ignat, does anybody have any questions or comments? Kate?
Hi. Last Friday, there was a car show about midnight near the tunnel and possibly the plunge. So it went on for about half an hour. And then I heard police sirens, but I don't know if it was for the same activity. Was there a response by police for this car show?
Yes, there was. That's why I mentioned that earlier because there was a stolen vehicle recovered during that incident. And a lot of the times when people steal vehicles, they have knives on them or other weapons. So that's why I was trying to give another just notice of when you see something like that, yeah, definitely give us a call so we can shut it down, but don't try to intervene or contact those people. We did respond to that.
Gary? Thanks, Kate. Gary?
Yeah, I was going to
You're
say
on mute,
we've
go ahead.
actually had problems up in the tennis courts up at Nickel Park, up in the center of town, where somebody's come in and cut wires out on several different occasions, and we're still sitting with the number of the lights out, which is having impact on the kids' practices as well as the adult practices at night. And it just takes a long time to get it all done. And when I talked to the electrical folks in town, they said, we'll get to you after all, but we actually have a lot of outages throughout Richmond in residential areas that are at higher risk than the tennis courts. And I said, I understand that's very appropriate. And they actually hired three contractors now trying to get these resolved. So there's been quite a lot going on in the city within the last month and a half.
Anna,
Okay,
thank you, Carrie.
I'll definitely check in with Nickel Port as well.
Is that it, Carrie? Anna, you have a question?
Uh, Hi there. Hi, officer. Um, I've noticed an uptick along Girard near the beach with homeless and RVs and vans and such. And I'm wondering, I think there's a 72 hour, if they have to be going within 72 hours. If the officers patrol and they see a van um, that's might fit a description of something that somebody called it. Do you knock on the door? Do you immediately post a ticket or a notice that it's 72 hours? Or I don't know what that process is.
Yeah, so the process, the way that I handle those type of calls is if someone has said that they can confirm that a vehicle has been there for a certain amount of time, then I give them that person the benefit of the doubt and I contact the person and let them know, hey, we got a call. Someone said the vehicle has been here for X amount of time. I haven't personally seen that until the moment that I get there. So I'm gonna ask them to move it if they have the means and is running. If it's not, then I notify them, okay, I'm gonna have to put a 72-hour sticker on it and then go through the channels of offer them other resources if they can't move their vehicle before we just up and take it the way we have to go. And knows more on that than me. She did kind of go over some things tonight that refreshed my memory, but she would be able to give you a better timeline of how exactly that worked.
From a legal perspective, so let's say they have a van and they say, okay, I'm going to move it, and they bring it 20 feet in front of them further down. Is that considered moving it because now they're no longer in the same spot and they're 20 feet further down? And so their 72 hours starts again?
Unfortunately, yes, that is the challenge that we have with moving things. So, any vehicle, it doesn't matter whether people are living in it or not, is supposed to move every 72 hours. That actually is coming from PC code. It's from the state. It's state law. It's not city ordinance that you have to move your vehicle every 72 hours and it needs to be registered. So if they move it, say 20 feet, then technically they have moved it. And so then we'd have to go back and deal with that process again. And I know that that's frustrating for people at sometimes, but it is something that we can do. The other thing is if you do see a vehicle or a vehicle encampment on Girard, please let us know. So just so you guys know the process for the camping ordinance, it's a simple process. If you see a vehicle and you let us know about it, if you let me know about it, I'll drop my information in the chat. I will have the core team go out per our ordinance. We'll make contact. We'll offer that person shelter if they're camping in their vehicle on public property. After that, we will notify parking enforcement or PD. They will put the 72-hour notice on the vehicle, and then that vehicle can be towed. Or that individual would have to move that vehicle. So officers sometimes will go and knock on the door and say, hey, there's a 72-hour policy. You will have to move your vehicle. And sometimes that gives them moving along from that area so they don't get comfortable in that area. But we do go and we try to follow the camping ordinance to make sure that we're, offering those services first. If we see an area that's a hotspot in the city, what I normally will do is I will flag it as a hotspot. Point Richmond as a whole, thanks to the advocacy of Philip, is a hotspot. All of Point Richmond, especially Tewksbury and Railroad, excuse me. That is a hotspot. And so we have CORE go out there 3 times a week and make contact with people so that you don't have to wait, and our public works folks and parking enforcement doesn't have to wait because I already have it on the hotspot list. So yeah, unfortunately, 72 hours, if they move it just a couple of feet, they can do that. Sometimes they do that. A lot of times we will talk to them and ask them to move, and they move out of the area.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle. And I do want to, I actually not just want to say thank you for your comment, but thank you for your action. Um, I was away, as you know, many of you know, most of December and January. When I came back, it was problematic. And, we powwowed with Michelle and with council, with John Joya, county commissioner, and there are now CORE is out all the time now, so I'm grateful. And we are about to lose to retirement the tall and efficient Donovan Decius, who is in charge of parking enforcement as well as other things. He's a gentle and kind person, and he's extremely good at de-escalating and uh, speak, talking people into doing the right thing. But he is also deadly serious about like this type of shenanigans. He can't stand broken down cars. He can't stand folks camping out. So he's turning over to his new team the emails and working with us in his last, I think it's 2 more weeks, approximately 2 more weeks.
15 days.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna miss him. He's a tough guy, and but I've done some ride-alongs with him, and it turns out he's also a sweetheart. So I want to thank you for that. Did notice RPD out this morning. Gary will probably mention it. There was vandalism at the plunge. It was small in the scheme of things, but it was particularly ugly and sad. There had been some kind of rowdy situation there. Obviously, last night there were alcohol containers all over the place. Um, but while I was there helping to finish the cleanup there, I did notice police out speaking to somebody who'd been sort of camping out in their car. Very, very good. It's very gentle and uh, displaying great patience and quite likable, But one thing I would like to continue to ask from Officer Ignat and Michelle, please continue to do parking enforcement along the plunge.
Mm-hmm.
It is for days we've had a vehicle parked backwards, no license tag on the front, expired plate in the handicap space, no handicap placard. So it's really small in the scheme of things, but we do understand that these vehicles are part of the problem. It's not just somebody who parked their car and went on vacation or something. So I think we would appreciate continued traffic enforcement, parking enforcement, and particularly since we know some of these people. You certainly know the owner of one local business or building that is part of the problem. So maybe a ticket once in a while might, if they're illegally parked, might get the strong message. And I know tickets are time consuming.
No problem.
Yeah, keep an eye on it. It's getting a little better, but I guess it ebbs and flows. Anybody have any more law enforcement questions?
Philip, I don't want to take up too much time but I wanted to let you all know that one of your beat officers already reported some of those vehicles over at the plunge. I was in lineup training, and so you'll have to forgive me if I'm a little tired this evening. I've been here since 6 a.m. and I've got to do the 9:30 lineup training. But they are aware of the situation over at the plunge. They contacted me. So we're going to have the team go out there and make contact with those individuals. They've been contacted multiple times, and we'll let parking enforcement know specifically about some of those cars and vehicles that are over there around the plunge. Also with Tewksbury, just so you all know, thanks to Philip's advocacy, we have made that an ERF3. In case you don't know what that weird acronym is, it stands for Encampment Resolution Zone. So those are monies that come from the state that Richmond got as part of our efforts to get more state grants and be on a state grant committee that will offer people employment opportunities that they have to take if they want to get the housing support and some rental assistance. They made contact with 8 people in the encampment on the Caltrans right of way. I have also contacted Caltrans and say that area needs a cleanup because there's needles and other things back there. And so I actually have a call in with Caltrans tomorrow to try to schedule a date to get cleanup behind that area. And so that is something that we are working on now. The other thing that I did, and I had not shared this with Philip yet, is that I put in a request to our assembly member because Caltrans will not fence an area for safety reasons. I think it's probably a liability reason with them. I work with them, routinely, and I used to work for the state, but they will fence for delineation. They are looking to see if there's money in their budget to fence that area in. But as we know, it's been a long time. We've been talking about this for 2 years. So I reached out to Assemblymember Wicks's office, Buffy Wicks, and asked, is there any way that the city of Richmond could get some additional funds to help with target hardening some of these areas where we have encampments? So after we offer the services to people, we need to be able to clean them up and make it more difficult for people to get back there again. Otherwise, you have the same cycle kind of coming back over and over again, and you just want to make it more difficult. Well, I got some tentative good news from her office yesterday, so don't jump up and down until you actually see it, but it sounds like there might be some opportunities there. So we are trying to work with the state and Caltrans to see if there are ways that we can fence that area off. But until then, I'm having the core team go to Tewksbury and Railroad every week, 3 times a week, making contact with the people. They know all the people. There's about 8 people who are back there on the regular, and at least one of them got housed this week. So I just wanted to let you know what's going on back there, and we're happy to keep on working on the parking enforcement and the enforcement side back there as well.
Thank you. I know it's a stressful and challenging opportunity, but even housing 1 out of 8 is fantastic. One at a time, you'll help those folks, and I'm grateful for you. Is there anybody else that has questions for law enforcement? If not, we'll kind of move forward, and Michelle might hang around. Officer Ignat, thanks for being here.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.
And I know it's been a stressful week for enforcement, so go home and get some rest if that's what if you're at the end of your shift. So let's move on a little bit. Thank you. And we'll just go on with the regular meeting, and then we'll pick up the questions and answers that you all sent. And we'll use Caesar as a surrogate for Shasa. Um, I just wanted to mention that I know that there's been extensive outreach for years concerning the project to completely renovate and stabilize environmentally Keller Beach. That includes removal of the incredibly dangerous Melaleuca trees, or eucalyptus trees. I did receive a letter from the Environmental Protection Agency, San Francisco Bay Program, asking for the neighborhood council's endorsement so that they can get additional funding for that project from the state. So I've written up that letter, but before I send letters, I normally like to ask the community. So by a show of hands, is there anybody who objects to the PRNC sending a letter to endorse this funding so that we don't have to do anything, so that the project can continue and Keller Beach can get the facelift and safety improvements that it needs? Anybody mind if I send that letter out? Because I'm doing it.
I have a question, Philip, because I think I missed the beginning of what you said. Is this to fund them removing all of the eucalyptus trees at the beach?
Well, you know that project better than I do, Anna.
Right across from me, yes.
My understanding is that the removal and replacement of the eucalyptus trees, somebody else will know, is actually required. But the city doesn't really have the money to do it. So I do believe they will be removing those and replacing them with normal trees. And I do believe the project's going to happen without this letter of endorsement, but my understanding is that would be part of it because it's an extensive landscaping plan.
That's horrible. In the interim, it takes what, 50 years for a tree to grow?
Yeah, I've got bad news for you, Anna. They're going to come down one way or the other, but yeah, that's correct. And I'm about to talk about more tree stuff that's going to make some of you will get really upset, but that's the way it is. But Anna, do you object to this funding? Sending this letter supporting the funding?
I prefer not to send the letter, but I'm one person in the community because I love looking at the trees, but
yeah.
I don't own the beach. So
right. Unfortunately, I assure you, because I remember this meeting and we've had this discussion, those trees are going to come down eventually within the next few years anyway. So at least in this case, I don't want to disagree with you because I like the trees too. and you live right there. But they're going to come down one way or the other. I'd rather have them come down as part of an organized plan. But so anyway, I will go ahead and send that endorsement letter out, mentioning that the majority of the community endorses this, that they request the funds. Again, it doesn't affect us at a PRNC. Bad news.
Strap myself to a tree in a couple of years. Is that it?
Well, girl, you can stop traffic, but I don't know if you can stop a backhoe. The Little Free Library, Gary, I'll mention, was vandalized behind the plunge. In the scheme of vandalizing, it wasn't major, but it was extremely depressing. They actually set it on fire.
Oh,
And you may remember that it was vandalized during the pandemic, we think by teenagers who had too much time on their hand. So Gary and Marin, who are the keepers of the plunge park, are working with the city to see if we can replace it. If the city can't help because of maybe outside of their thing, outside of their purview, we'll make a little fundraiser. We'll get a new one built. We'll get a new one painted and stocked, and we will not let folks win. My hope is that it was somebody mentally ill, because if it wasn't, they're particularly mean. The
Well,
best scenario is that someone was not in control of themselves. Gary?
Phil, like you said, you cleaned up. There was certainly a party or something out there last night, and because there's a lot of debris as well. But I got a call and went down there, and it's it's just senseless vandalism. It was actually the whole little library was just turned over, and then it was actually burned. Why somebody would do this is beyond me. But we've had some increased vandalism up in Nickel Park, up in the center of town too. So there's no sense to it, but we were talking about actually maybe putting a camera up there or something. But it's been there for a long time with no incident. But for some reason at this particular time, we just finished doing a spring update there. But anyway, so as Phil said, we're going to pursue several options to get that replaced.
it's also so dangerous. If somebody lit that on fire, all you need is
Yeah.
one breeze and it goes up the hill and the whole hill's on fire. So
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I have no idea why. I mean, it was restricted just to the actual little library itself, but
Yeah, they did on
there
purpose.
certainly could have been more of that, right?
And I picked up two lighters on my way to Pram this morning, and I thought, how people don't usually throw lighters away. And so I remember thinking that's odd, but they were at the sidewalk, not back in the park. And then you shared the bad news.
Well,
Anyway, that's
actually,
minor. We can get
interesting
money
enough,
for that.
Phil, I actually, yes, this afternoon just picked up a lighter also down near the road, actually, not right there.
So maybe they were roasting marshmallows on.
Yeah,
is
who
it
knows?
possible to move
Or-
the little library more towards the street so it's not hidden back there, so more people would see it on the street, or that's kind of where it must be is
It's
further?
kind of worked pretty well over there,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
maybe there's a different location for it. By the way, I hope you've all noticed they've put in lighting, or in the process of putting in bollard. I think it's called bollard lighting,
Yeah,
on that pathway, and that might help.
the walkway down when you go across from the bank, and if you walk toward the plunge where the pergola just installed this last year, like Phil said, there's lights just along that walkway all the way up, and they just added the last light. There's like 4 lights there now. That was just done probably last week.
Okay.
Maybe that'll help.
And maybe if all else fails, Gary, I like to raise money, so we'll have a little fundraiser.
Yeah.
Last time it was vandalized, we raised enough money to fix it and buy some new books.
And then we should, and we do that, we should have a party, right?
So yeah, there you go. And speaking of trees that people love, I want to let you know that I was contacted by John Joya's office about some grant money. There are many Chevron grants going on right now, but there's $1 million available on a $1 million small local grant. And I scrambled to find a project that could get us up to $50,000. Had I had more than 2 days to put this grant together, we would have asked the community for suggestions. I applied for a grant for the project that I have been working on for years because it was at my fingertips. which is that they are going to need to remove the giant palm trees in Janus Play Lot on the corner of Nickel and Washington. They are dying, they are unsafe, and they have been identified as something that's not allowed to be there, but they don't have a plan to re-landscape Janus Play Lot. So that's what my application is. I'm working with CSW, Marcia Valier, and Jesse Marin and company to scramble to get this proposal together. I submitted a draft of it to John Joya's office. He spent a long time on the phone with me, his assistant, reviewing this because I'm not a professional. And by tomorrow afternoon, the grant will be polished and ready to submit. So this is the first. There are many millions more, and we'll discuss that, talk about what we sent to Shasa. But I just wanted to let you know because I did apply for that grant on behalf of our community. Normally, again, we try to solicit suggestions. And when we last solicited suggestions, we didn't get any that qualified anyway. So that's on its way. Let's cross our fingers. We believe that if we start with re-landscaping, they will be able to redo the whole park, which is going to cost about $750,000. So this is step one. Dumpster day is Saturday. What a great opportunity if you like cool stuff to come and volunteer. Why, you say? Because you can help seniors and the elderly and get some exercise and some folks who need help, and you can move the line along. But what's the real benefit, Anna and company? When we pull things out of people's car and they can be reused or recycled, including new bicycles, chandeliers, flower pots, handmade pottery, brand new rugs, brand new furniture, we set that on the sidewalk so that people have a last chance in those 4 hours to rescue these items and recycle them. And guess who gets first dibs? The volunteers. So if you have a little time and you want to see what your neighbors are throwing away, that's really good stuff. Please join us anytime from 8 o'clock until noon on Wine Street in front of the elementary school. If you can't volunteer, bring your junk, bring ID. Please consider bringing a donation for the neighborhood council. This year we are taking PayPal and we're also taking Zelle, which will go to my account and then I will forward it until we set up our own Zelle account. So we're going to make it really hard to say no. There is no obligation. But we see a couple hundred cars sometimes. So if everybody puts in a few dollars or $5 and sometimes a 20, we've raised money to do a lot of community improvements. So that's Saturday from 8 o'clock to noon. I think you'll know the drill by now. Line up along Cutting next to Judge Carroll Park. We'll make a right-hand turn. And a bit of advice is in the past, we used to tell you to get there early. You don't really have to do that. We don't fill the dumpsters at 10 o'clock. There's still room in them. And usually it slows down quite a bit. So, if you pace yourself, that's fine. I do ask a favor. Do you have a neighbor who can't get there? Do you have a neighbor who's a senior or needs a little help? Maybe you can take their junk in your vehicle so that we can, sort of make the line go a little bit faster and reach out to our neighbors. And for goodness sake, for all of you who complain that somebody left a bin of garbage on the corner or they left an old couch or they left a broken chair, there's nothing to stop you from throwing that in your trunk and cleaning up the neighborhood. Edie and I will make a run probably Friday night. I make a run at 5 o'clock in the morning and I just drive around town in Edie's truck. Thank you, Edie. And I just take all that trash off the street. So it's really a great opportunity to have some fun and clean up the neighborhood. And lastly, in the fabulous news department, you'll be getting, sorry.
As a quick reminder, no vehicles larger than a pickup truck. So if you have a box truck or anything larger than that, they will not accept any more dumping from those kinds of vehicles. So if you've got a car, a pickup truck, fine, but anything larger, then you're not going to be able to dump there. And that's not our rule. That's the rule of the waste management company.
Thanks. And the volunteers are staffing this, so please give us a break. We don't want to argue with folks. And in the good news department, you know that we're doing Spring Fling. I mentioned it last time. You'll get the notices real soon. It's going to be the last Saturday in March, which is 2 weeks before Easter. Even though it's not an Easter event, it's a spring event. It is being held at Pram, and it is intended for the Point Richmond community. We have enjoyed doing dozens of street festivals over the last few years, or dozens of street events. Unfortunately, we cannot, as volunteers, produce an enormous street festival for the benefit, or attended by people from all over the Bay Area. It's been great, and we're happy to support the business community. It's just too much work, and it costs a lot of money. So we're going to bring it back to the way it started 6 years ago, I think, under right? When it used to be at the tennis courts, it was just for the neighborhood and a few people who wandered in. We're not going to send anybody away. We'll have the usual shenanigans. We will be serving pizza, which up till this morning wasn't confirmed, because this morning I got $1,000 grant from the city to run the event, which will allow us to hire a company to come and remulch the pram area. And hopefully, we're going to hire a gardening team to help spruce that up a little. So, in addition to having a fun event for a day, we're hoping to do sort of capital improvements on the pram building. And thank you, City of Richmond, for that. And that happens to be a really easy grant to manage, so it wasn't a lot. So that's my rambling on. Let's hear from Treasurer Supreme Margie Sullivan.
Thanks. Hi. So we are happy to tell you that we have hired a bookkeeper. We are a 501c3, and so we decided it made sense to hire someone as a second eyes, and she's going to get back to us, and we'll tell you every 6 months exactly where we are, and we're really excited about that. So it's not expensive, and it's a good second look. Also, we have a couple of benches coming in that we're going to put behind the History Association that we believe Phillips 66 is going to be providing. And so we're waiting for that to come into our little mailbox.
Great. And one of the checks is from Chevron. It's on its way, and I'm confirming with Phillips 66. Their check will come much later in the year. But once I have a written commitment, a written confirmation of the commitment, we'll be able to move forward. And that was something that all of us wanted when we redid the Town Triangle, particularly the History Association. And those benches will be identical to the ones that Maren and Gary coordinated on the corner of Judge Carroll Park, with a little plaque thanking the sponsors. They are $4,000 a piece. So I just want to let you know it's a lot.
They're beautiful.
They're really beautiful. And we'll start to be able to pull it because they're at the plunge too. So we're going to start to have some continuity in the neighborhood with that. Really excited. Thank you. Anything from membership, Mr. Eric?
Good evening. Not much this evening. We are still at 206 members, no new members in the past 30 days, but we still see folks paying their dues. So if you paid, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions about membership, please reach out at any time.
Thanks. And good news on that front as well. We do have a computer, what do you call it? A software engineer who's a neighbor of ours. And I mentioned this earlier, but I've been too busy. She's going to revamp our website and make it much easier for people to make payment. We're going to have additional payment methods. And we are searching for, if anybody's software smart, help us out. We are searching for a program, something similar to QuickBooks. We suspect that there are programs for nonprofits so that all of this stuff can just be, you can pay, enter your information, it goes right to Eric, and we're not kind of still doing things manually. So as soon as Edie and I and June, and let's give a little nice thought to June, she's been dealing with some health issues. As soon as we can get together and unlock our website, we do have a volunteer who makes about $400 an hour who's going to be working for us for free. So that's good. Okay. Doctor, what do you have to say? I'm sorry. Oh, well, thank you for sending this in. So what I'm going to do is, for lack of a better system, I'm just going to read off the questions that the community sent. I'm going to read the answers. And Caesar, are you online? And when Caesar gets back, Thanks. You with the dogs.
Good.
When Caesar gets back, can you kind of surrogate for Shasa and flesh out any questions that you know about?
Yep. I'm here.
Okay, thank you. So the first, we asked a couple of city questions, and I'm going to just read the questions because this is what I had asked her to do because I want you to be heard, and I wanted her. I really didn't want to be all about me in this meeting for once. So the question is there's a $30 million grant from the Air Quality District. Is the city asking for any of these funds and how will it be distributed? There are concerns that nonprofits receiving city funds are applying for these funds, but only in the politically advantageous districts. Please comment. The city response, yes, staff are coordinating internally to determine which projects align with the grant guidelines. Final decisions have not been made yet for this grant opportunity. So I'm looking at your square on the board, Caesar, at Hollywood Squares, and we know you will advocate for District 2 to get some of that funding. I have been trying, I was hoping we could get some of this funding, the PRNC. It is far above my pay grade. Probably something that Bruce Baird and his team is qualified and experienced in handling. But it's way too hard. But we are going to couple with some other, what we call fence line communities, those around Chevron. And we're going to try to kind of work together, perhaps with the NAACP or another social justice charity to see if we can kind of get our share. If we don't act, and I'll handle that and I'll report back. If we don't act quickly, the large charities that have $20 million in government money and a staff and grant writers, and they know everyone in politics, they're going to take that money and we won't see it. So I'm glad the city is going to be trying to get some, and that's for the whole Bay Area. So trust me, if they're all the way in the farthest reaches of San Francisco, they're trying to get these funds as well. $30 million disappears really quickly. It's surprising. The second, what is the status of police officers on administrative leave? How many are there, and what are the legal ramifications? I can answer the first part because I watched the meeting on Tuesday. There are 3 officers on leave. I just know that. I don't know who they are. City response, unfortunately, we're not able to discuss confidential personal matters. I do suspect that she probably is talking, maybe Caesar, maybe you can chime in, maybe talking a little bit about human resources matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's possibly what she meant to say because it's not really personal.
Yeah, it's personnel.
Personnel.
HR.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. Reading skills is important. What types of costs are involved with the resolutions and proclamations, such as support of Palestine, boycotts of Israel, support of Ukraine? I think we did South America a couple weeks. City response, resolutions and proclamations are policy statements and generally do not involve direct programmatic expenditures. Administrative work associated with this item, such as drafting, formatting agenda preparation, coordination with elected officials, responding to residents' inquiries, and any related postage or mailings, is typically handled by existing staff within approved department budgets. So she didn't answer the question, which was, is it expensive for us?
It would all depend
yeah.
as well if how much overtime we have to pay for police, fire, etc. The last couple big ones, we had to have a lot of additional staff. On a regular, non-controversial city council meeting, just a plain old boring council meeting on a Tuesday, we have our one officer standing by. We may have an additional one here and there, especially if they're there for an agenda item or the police chief is there to present on something. We'll have the police chief there. But during more controversial items, we need all the officers and we bring them out with overtime and etc. And the fire as well.
I know that recently, I'm sharing, Caesar doesn't have secrets, but we speak frequently. um, that during some recent challenges, um, that I think, Caesar, you told me you'd received something like 300 emails in 24 hours, and that the city was swamped with emails from all over the country. So,
It
um,
is thousands, not hundreds.
oh, okay, I'm sorry. So I think the question was a legitimate one, and I think Shasa and company are very good at sidestepping. When she comes, maybe I'll, send that one in again. Um, okay. Oh, she did answer it. Sorry. They range from several $100s. Sorry. Please excuse me. As you know, I just got these, so I didn't have a chance to read them. They range from several $100s to a few $1,000s, depending on the level of public engagement and meeting. Overtime for the police officers are more than a few $1,000s. Council member Bonna. Oh, this is a long question. Oh, this sounds like somebody I know. Councilmember Bonna had a question and answer with former Chief French and the new Chief Simmons a few weeks ago. He stated that the city had hired a consultant to help with the draft safety element, which covers evacuation routes, which has been a huge topic in these meetings. Both Chief Simmons and Lieutenant Dacius have confirmed that the consultant has not reached out to either of them. So this is what we've been screaming for, a better understanding of evacuation routes. Has the city hired a consultant for this purpose? And if so, will they be reaching out to the police chief and various impacted neighborhood councils with known ingress and egress? Listen to this language. I bet you can figure out who wrote this. I can. Uh, with known ingress and egress issues that have known significant hazards. For example, high fire severity zones, Point Richmond, areas near Chevron. The impacted community members know the challenges better than anyone and bring a valuable voice to this conversation. So that was both a statement and a question. City response. Yes, this work was initiated in 2022. So that's kind of scary, 4 years ago, during the sixth cycle housing element update to comply with AB. And this is a lot. So I will be happy to share this with anybody in writing, or I'll fax it over to you or email it over to you, with AB 747 and SB 99. I do believe I know who asked this complicated question, and I do believe that Shasa's office was answering her specifically. Staff has recently restarted the work after being put on hold due to staffing issues. Okay, so it went on hold. Staff has reached out to Chief Simmons, who has assigned Captain Lopez to assist, along with Fire Marshal Wiley, okay, who we know, Richard Diaz, who we know in the fire department. Great. The consultant support by Diet and Batia and Fair and Piers. Fair and Piers we're real familiar with. They do a lot of work on um, the bike lanes and traffic markings and stuff. Staff would be happy to confer with impacted neighborhood councils regarding the analysis being prepared pursuant to AB 747 and SB 99. We'll reach out as soon as the analysis is in progress. So in a nutshell, I'm reading it got put on hold, but they intend to come to us with the fire evacuation route stuff. Here's our Point Richmond questions. And I think that I'm pretty sure Caesar can answer most of them. Bruce and Sandra asked, the paving in many streets in Point Richmond is in terrible condition. What plans does the city have to prioritize, seal coat, and repave? City response. Public Works is currently scheduled to place rubberized Cape Seal treatment on, it says 0.9 miles of street within Point Richmond. That sounds like 1 mile. So, which could be in the neighborhoods. That doesn't sound like a lot. With construction anticipated this coming May, in a couple months. This treatment is a proven preventative method intended to extend the service life of streets that remain in fair and good structural condition and reduces the sound of vehicle traffic. In addition, Public Works continues to advance its citywide pavement management program to address streets in poor and failed condition. We certainly have those. Anybody live on Terrace? Anybody live on what do they call it? East Scenic, it's a rocky road. Our future paving plans for 26-27 includes evaluating streets that fall within these categories, including several specific streets in Point Richmond. This effort involves assessing roadway structural composition, renewing drainage, identifying appropriate rehabilitation strategies based on engineering analysis, um, city priorities, and available paving funds. Preliminary draft of the 26-27 paving plan currently shows a couple Point Richmond streets under consideration for the paving plan. And Caesar, I know that's hard to listen to me ramble these long answers, but if you can tune in a little, you may know some of these. I know that East Scenic is being considered right now. This is a citywide effort, and while many streets throughout Richmond are in poor and failed condition, improvements must be phased over multiple years due to funding availability and prioritization criteria. Wow, if I could have learned to talk like this, I could have
And
a
Philip,
huge job. Let me finish this, or go ahead, and then I'll
I was,
finish where I left off.
I was going to say on the chat here, I posted for everyone to see. I requested the city update this for us. It's the street paving maps. This will tell you what is scheduled to be paved, and also which curve ramps they're doing all throughout the city, not just Point Richmond. So you do see a few of them there. I'm not sure if the red line equals the 0.9 that she's referencing, but they are doing little by little. And then I'm going to look to have another update in my newsletter, because then there's both what we're doing in-house and then also what's going to be happening for anything that we outsource.
Thanks, Caesar. And then the end of the sentence is Shasa linking us to the same link that Caesar just put in. Thank you, Caesar.
Oh, perfect. You're welcome.
Bruce, I know you know how to look at a street map, probably better than anyone in town. So you might want to join us and help us to advocate that. I will say, I know that you're aware that I have not had always the least contentious relationship with Daniel Chavarria, but recently identified some serious potholes, and particularly two that were literally within the bike lanes, which could be very, very dangerous if somebody didn't see them. And they were filled in 72 hours. And they did a couple more around at the same time. So a little at a time, we can get response. You all should be able to use the Richmond app. I recommend it. But if you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to forward your email, and I will normally loop you in because I really don't want to be your secretary, but I do know the departments, and I'm happy to take a moment to introduce you to those public works or public officials. They mostly are really on the ball and really responsive. Sarah, I see you here. Why has there been no action to correct the dangerous situation on East Scenic Avenue? People do drive the wrong way. There is signage, but it is unhelpful for a variety of reasons. Councilman Zepeda actually came out and looked at the situation, but still no action. Caesar, I wrote to Shasa. Caesar has the answers because we had the discussion. And there is action. So Caesar, do you want to comment on what you know?
Yeah. So Public Works is looking at the street to see what options they can do. They are looking at a couple different things. One of them is changing the signage, changing the width of the road. I mean, they're not going to make the road less wide. It's just the perception of it by paints or other road improvements to make sure that people know that they cannot drive down that street. And they're also looking to see what they might be able to do, because on the videos that have been shown to me where trucks try to make a left turn or a very left U-turn, I don't know how to explain it, onto the other street, they're getting caught in the middle median there, or they're landing in Sarah's front yard.
Can I just clarify that visual picture, Caesar?
Yeah, please.
This is folks going in the correct direction down East Richmond and making a left as they're supposed to down tunnel in front of where Paige lives, and hitting her car on a regular basis, careening wildly into her front yard, killing a cat, knocking over a van. almost hitting
Yeah.
someone on a wheelchair. So that's that sort of dangerous hairpin turn.
Yeah, so that they're looking to re-engineer. So we've got both our Public Works and CSW as well taking a look at this. So and they're also looking at the uh, uh, guardrails that are at the stairs because several people mentioned that and I went to it, I touched it as well. It definitely needs repair. So they're looking to replace or repair the guardrails at the on the stairs there as well.
And just today, I got an email and then had a phone conversation with another neighbor of yours, Sarah, um, who has volunteered to do a drive along with CSW, who is our friend, certainly a friend of our community. That's Marcia Valier and Company, who are doing this research to see what's happening. She's identified some areas and sent some photos, which I will forward. And she has also identified, in addition to the problem of people going in the wrong direction, Sarah, she feels that a lot of the times what she's seeing, and I heard this from the Butt family as well, who live right on that stretch, that in addition to the cars making the turn incorrectly, which is very well signed, that is at Terrace entering scenic from the wrong east scenic from the wrong direction, that they have identified the problem that delivery trucks will make a delivery to your neighborhood and then turn around and return the way they came. And that might be part of the problem because the sign is really strong. And that whole street is dangerous and can use some love. So thank you, Caesar, for um, jumping on that. Paige and I have been addressing this for 6 years. And Caesar came out one day, and a few weeks later, we have a consultant. So I'm grateful for you on that, Caesar. Um, this is a real.
And can I go back really quickly too on the paving? It's not on Shasa's report because I also work on my own little things here and there. But I've also gone to look for funding from MTC, and they're looking to see if they have a little bit of something for me to help pave and redo a little bit of canal where the overpass is. Because as many of you saw and probably drove through it during the heavy rains, it was very flooded. So I emailed all those pictures to MTC and I said, please give me some money because I begged for us for money. So they're looking for some. So that could be another project. Halal is working with me on this to look to see what they can do to improve that area. And that will have most likely slightly change in on the street there. I'm not sure as the engineer what they're going to do, but that is a project that they're working on to try to mitigate future flooding in that area.
One of the things we've been stressing to everyone who will listen is that every road in and out of Point Richmond becomes an evacuation route if the tunnel is blocked, if there's something at Chevron, or if there's trains. So I will continue to drive public officials around that area and members of the community to show them exactly what we face in an emergency. And if we have to take the idea that East Scenic is an emergency evacuation route is absurd. It's absurd. You can barely get a bicycle on that road, much less an emergency vehicle and 600 cars trying to evacuate. Is Lucy Snow here in the meeting? Lucy, if you're here, can you unmute? Okay, I'll just paraphrase. Lucy had a concern with solar being installed and PG&E dragging their feet, and she was wondering if the city could help. Turns out they can. The city will be contacting PG&E's government liaison, and then Shasa gives us Samantha Carr's environmental manager's information. I will email Lucy and make sure that she got a copy of this. I'm assuming that she did from
Bill,
Shasa's office, and that
can you
surprises me. Yeah,
can you tell me more about that question? I'm not sure that I got it.
she's having trouble with PG&E activating the solar that she had installed, and so I assume I don't know nothing, but when I got the question, I thought, well, that's not city business. Turns out it is. They can help. Michelle, do you know something about solar? Or?
Well, it not necessarily about solar, but I'm pretty sure the reason that the city manager asked it to be directed to Samantha Carr is because both she and I, but she has a relationship with PG&E and their government relations person. So I'm sure that they could, be able to try to figure out what questions need to be answered. We have a great new government relations person. Some of you guys might remember BL Moore, who worked with Republic Services,
Yeah.
who's really responsive. And I'm pretty sure that's what her intention was, is to have Samantha contact BL and try to get some answers.
I am thrilled to hear that's where she ended up because she's a peach. Oh, and I'll be hitting her up for money now that I can't hit her up now that I can't hit her up at Republic. Isabel asks, Isabel, would you the Santa Fe Avenue slide, which occurred in March 2023, and Isabel, you're here, so you can chime in, will receive funding for evaluation and repair. I've seen many communications, but no one has responded. Robert Armejo has addressed this. Caesar might have answers. I expect that. Oh, I suspect she's looking for a more definitive response. I do try to add a little comment because if we don't really clarify these questions, sometimes they're answering the wrong questions or they say, we'll get back to you. So the city response, funding has been identified, currently securing a design professional to begin the evacuation and repair design work. Within the next few weeks, we will share a clearer schedule and next steps. By the way, if any of you want me to email you this document with all these answers on it, just email me at my PRNC address and I'll forward this to you. Caesar, you were involved in this. Do you have any further comment? Sounds like it's rolling.
Yeah, hopefully not literally up the hill there. We want to keep the hill from rolling down. But yeah, so we're getting some movement. We did, Public Works is trying to identify. So there's two different buckets of money, just to clarify. The first bucket of money that they've identified, it's a much smaller number, which is a lot easier. So it's going to be for the consultant to take a look to see what the problem is and then see what the solution could be. And then from there, Public Works is expecting that it's going to be about $1 million plus potentially for any solution. So for that, there has to come back to City Council. It's already been on the City Council list. It just hasn't made it all the way up. But I'll make sure to advocate to bring it up once we have the consultant provide the options of solutions.
Thanks, Caesar. Isabel, does that seem a little promising? Okay. John Drostis asked, does the city monitor Chevron's operations, especially flaring at night in terms of noise pollution? I live on Golden Gate, and then more than a dozen occasions in the last 6 months, I've been woken at night by noise levels from the refinery, and also on fewer occasions from the Chevron ship terminal, which is right above where he lives, below where he lives. Does the city have excessive noise codes or laws, and are they enforced? City response. The fire department does not monitor all refinery operations, but we do monitor flaring. We do not monitor noise pollution. I sent this question forward to Chevron because I have a pretty good relationship with John. I'm sorry, not John, Brian Hubinger. And he told me that he's reached out to John directly, and we are inviting them as soon as possible so that we can really get an engineering answer on this question, because I know that some residents are hearing stuff, and that's important. So the answer right now sounds like no. Could somebody in the city drive down Canal Boulevard to Seacliff and Dornan Drive to Brickyard Cove some night and check out the streetlights? I'm going to read the question and then I'm going to read the correction that I made. Canal seems to have none streetlights that work. I corrected that. I took that drive that day. Canal is all the new lighting and it's working fantastic. What he meant was Seacliff Drive from Canal. And it is, I know Gary lives up there. If you are driving from Canal up Seacliff Drive to Brickyard Cove, it is pitch black and curvy and dangerous. And the city response, the city will be installing solar lighting on Seacliff Drive this spring. On Dornan Drive, between the Dornan Tunnel and Brickyard Cove Road, solar lighting will be installed in early summer. So, yay! It's really bad. There are currently no plans to install new lighting on Cove Road. However, I will have staff review it for consideration for 2027. So just, I was really curious. I'm really curious, and kind of Caesar and I have the same mentality. As soon as somebody says something, we get in our car and drive around and look at it. I think James Chesser is like that too. Very curious. So I think the problem is least, in what I saw, this problem is least serious in the Brickyard Cove stretch. Um, some of those lights work, but it seems like they could be brighter there. But the other two things are being done, and those were your questions. And some answers were vague, some a little evasive, but I think they're really good. Um, so we can't ask questions of Shasa, but Caesar, that puts you on the hot seat for a little while.
Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. In regards to the lighting, I'm putting together my newsletter. I'll give an update. In the last budget meeting, we did appropriate several dollars towards lighting. A lot of it is in District 2, things that I've been advocating. So some of the streets that you mentioned are on that list. So if you go back and look at the budget that was approved, there's other areas that are not on that list that were approved. So I'll send out my newsletter and people can read the list there and see where else we're installing lights. Lights are very expensive, and we're turning from hardwired to solar, as it was mentioned earlier, because of all of the copper wire theft happening. We are slowly but surely starting to move away from copper wire and into all solar lights.
There's so much more, they seem so much more effective, maybe not the solar part, but the new LED is casting less shadows. There's less glare. It seems more effective. I don't know, maybe if anyone has also noticed that. Caesar, before we move on with the meeting, thank you, by the way, for hoofing it with us. Caesar, I'm looking for it just in case you don't have it at your fingertips. You sent me an email, which we will forward, with a flyer for your various coffee chats that you're doing in the community. Do you know? I can't find it. Can you
Yeah.
share some of those dates with us?
Yeah, so as everyone knows, I've been doing my morning coffees quarterly, trying to be out in the community. And the first one is this Saturday at 9, or so right before the dumpster day. So you can come out and join me for that. I try to go to all of our different coffee shops around District 2. Recently, we did lose a couple of them, unfortunately. But we'll be doing them at the ones that we still have. So this Saturday, the 28th at 9 a.m., I'll be at one of our newer ones that opened. So we had one that closed, but one that opened, Flor Hermosa Coffee at 425 Cutting Boulevard. And then the next one is Saturday, March 7th at Roma Cafe. And then March 14th at Kaleidoscope Coffee.
I'll shoot that out to remind y'all. And I think Florida Hermosa is within the palm tree place, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
so
right
that sounds very pretty. They put a coffee shop in where with the palm trees. Well,
It's pretty, and they've got cats. So if you like having coffee and petting a cat, it's great because they come around and they're very friendly.
That's great. Michelle, thank you. I think we're done with any need for police. If you're still with us, get some sleep, sister. And
Oh,
we'll
no,
hear
no.
from
I'm
you
getting ready
soon.
to go do lineup training. So I just left some information about the Hyundai theft that are happening if you want to take a look at it, and also our upcoming Taco with a Cop. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Michelle. I appreciate you being here because, you're Wonder Woman, the girl that never sleeps. Okay, let's go to community briefs. Anybody here from Maskers? Jim sometimes comments. Hi, Jim. It's been a while.
Let me unmute. Yes, as a matter of fact, I think I can speed things up. I have information on Maskers, Red Oak Victory, and Rosie the Riveter. Should I just go through it all?
I would shoot. Oh, get them all.
All right, in one shot. Okay, Maskers. Improbable Fiction is a current play by Alan Ackerborn, directed by Angela Mason. Last performance is this Friday, Saturday night, 8 o'clock, $35 general, $30 students and seniors. And then is the annual crab feed at the Galileo Club on March the 14th. Tickets are $75. It's a fundraiser, and you should get those tickets pretty soon because they do close it down to plan for the food. That's Maskers.
Jim, I have a question. Does it normally
Yeah,
sell out?
it usually does.
Okay.
One of
And
the
they can
problems
get
is,
that on the Maskers website, correct?
yeah, they should. I think last year they didn't have it or something. But as far as I know, it should be there. The most important thing is they close down the sales several days before so they can order the food. So if you want to go, I would recommend it. You jump on it. Red Oak Victory, Swing Dance, March 28th, 6 to 10 p.m. Live music. And our very own Susie Hart from Hidden City will be given dance lessons. So if you don't know how to do swing dance, she will teach you. I don't know how they came up with this price, $28.52 each to go. And then there's movie night, and you won't want to miss this because the theme we're having this spring is Alfred Hitchcock in Northern California. And so we have Family Plot coming up, and then The Birds and Vertigo. And having been to Bodega Bay 2 weeks ago, I can tell you that the birds are in good shape up there. And then we end with our usual viewing of Casablanca. Rosie the Riveter, Fridays, we have Rosie the Japanese Americans. And then my two lectures for March will be on entertainment in World War II. Part one will be radio, music, and then part two, movies. And the dates on that are March 12th, Thursday at 2:30 for the radio one. And then 29 March, Sunday, 2:30. For the one on movies. And that's Maskers, Red Oak Victory, and Rosie the Riveter.
Thank you. And how's everything going with ping pong, Jim? Oh, wait, sorry, that's Peter. All right, thank you so
Just
much.
fine, just fine. It's great.
The swing dance thing sounds excellent.
Yeah, you can get
lot of fun.
lessons if you lack self-confidence. How's that?
Yeah. Well, she couldn't be more gentle. She can
You're in
she
the
can
hands of
teach
an
a tree to
expert.
dance.
Yeah.
Uh, thanks so much, Jim, for that. The three for. Do you have anything from Cordell, Peter?
Yes. Let me see. He said that they had Nat Bates, AJ, Jelena, Doris Mason, and JC Farr for the Black History Month celebration. And their next meeting is March 9th in the council
Thank you.
chamber.
And just so you all know, I was unable to attend. I don't think any PRNC people were represented, but we did make a small donation to help with the refreshments because that's kind of like a party and a celebration. So the RNCC needed help buying the refreshments, and it was kind of our turn. The neighborhoods usually chip in for these things. Um, in the world of burning libraries, let's hear from our friend Gary Hurlbut.
Yeah, unfortunately, that we'll get that solved. Peter and I talked about that some, and we're looking for some grants to help with that. And we've also talked to the city. It's really it's been there for a long time and without any trouble. But boy, they had quite a party back there. Apparently, Peter or Phil, you picked up some of the beer cans and all that were left. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but unfortunately, it was destroyed. We did just finish a pre-spring cleanup out there, and there's a lot more mulch there. But also, we did mulch along the trees heading up toward the tunnel, and so that all went really well. We're doing some more. We'll be doing some more weeding there. I don't know if we sent this out before, but the Herbal Benevolent Fund does do some work with snowball donations, and this is for scholarships for high school students that are going out from high school. They have to have a grade point of 3.25, and they get interviewed, and we take them out to a party at Laura's at the end of all that, and we do scholarships for them going on to college. And so we're also looking for any help with the funding on that. And Phil, I don't know if we've actually sent anything out on that, but we could.
Yeah, if
That's
I'll pass it on.
yeah,
Meaning I'll give it to Edie and she'll pass it on.
it'll be coming out the middle of March.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
And that's all I've got. Although the other thing I would say is we're doing a lot with the youth program now. So we've got a lot more youth now coming out every day at Nickel Park after school. And so that program with the kids is going really great, as long with the adult program. But that's been kind of a great addition back after COVID. And it's great to see the kids getting out there and get active. And they can't bring their phones into the tennis court.
That's are they jonesing
Oh
for
yeah,
that
no,
10
we don't have a
minutes?
choice. Okay, that's all I got.
Thanks, Peter. Update on ping pong.
Yeah, well, we keep having um, anywhere from 6 to 8 people show up. They all have a good time. We play very gentle ping pong. So if you don't have anything to do on a Monday night and you want to come down and we're we 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 try to instruct people on how to play if they don't, but everybody seems to know how to play. It's the most common refrain is that, oh, I haven't played in 20 years, and then they start playing and they go, oh, I should do this more often. So I agree. It's a good way to get some exercise and meet some people. So anyway, that's it.
Thanks. Everybody loves it who goes there.
Mhm.
Charmaine, I know we kind of had a weird meeting yesterday. Do you want to just touch on what happened concerning Zero Terrace Avenue, which is terrace right uh, at Scenic on that weird corner?
Right. What I'd like to do is update from the last meeting, just to repeat a little bit, and then have a quick summary of both meetings. So this property it has no building on it at the moment. It's on Terrace Avenue as its address, but then the road goes around the corner and becomes Scenic. There's quite a big slope there on that road, and it's kind of a small property. But they're intending to build a single family house, 1,200 square feet, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. And the main concern right now is the slope of the hill and the water drainage. So Terrace Avenue is kind of sinking in some places, and it's causing water to run onto and into the property that we're talking about where they want to build the house. There is a retaining wall at the bottom of the property on Scenic Avenue. That's in front of the street, between the property and the street. So during that first meeting, we determined that the house would probably need to have piers or posts in the construction going to bedrock because of this slope. There needs to be a plan for water management and drainage that goes into a stormwater collector. And the retaining wall at the bottom of the hill needs to be examined to see what is it made of and how is it attached to the hillside. So those were our main issues. And then we met last night, but what happened is some of the neighbors did not get all of the plans, and they have updated the plans. We weren't able to see them yet, so we don't know what they're proposing to help with these issues. The neighbors need to get the plans and the meeting notice, and the LUDRC needs to work out any of the issues between the neighbors and the developer. So the neighbors must be involved. But this is somebody who's new at doing this and wasn't really sure of all the procedures. So now they have a second month in order to contact everybody, get the plans out there, and come to the meeting or at least forward their questions. So this is being postponed now until March. So we hope that the last Tuesday of March, which is the next LUDRC meeting, that we'll have a bunch of neighbors, a bunch of questions, a bunch of answers, and a good discussion. So maybe by the end of March, I'll be able to bring to the membership some information about the summary of where we stand. So that's it.
Thanks, Charmaine. Those of you experienced members of that board are stunning with your institutional knowledge. And we do have a new board member coming on. I forgot his name, but
John Peterson.
Right. Is he an architectural engineer? Do I recall correctly?
He's an engineer, but
Right.
not architectural.
We are really glad to have another professional on board. It's hard to fill these boards. Everybody is busy, and so we're thrilled to see that new experienced guy. And that's a tough board. So sometimes we need extra people so that we can have a quorum. And I do want to make a comment about that I've been hearing in to clarify the LUDRC, and Charmaine or Peter can chime in. The LUDRC is advisory. They don't have an agenda. The goal is to present the projects to the community, share their knowledge, including because we do have knowledge of our quirky neighborhoods, to share the knowledge of what's going on in the neighborhood and our experience. There's drainage problems here. Are you aware? Do you know that there's what happens when it floods? And then to listen to the community, to type up their concerns and bring them to the general membership and send them forward to the planning department. So I just want to clarify, although many of them are engineers and have this knowledge, we're here to advocate for the communication and to liaise, but we are not here to be angry if you don't like the color, of somebody's house. But we are surprisingly effective in getting architects and designers to make changes. But I want to remind people to be polite to these volunteers. They don't have ulterior motives. We're not paid, and we're effective. But there are things we can't control. And we're hearing it a lot with ADUs, accessory dwelling units. The state regulates those now. So we can give some feedback and we have made some progress, but we all know that we can't stop them. It's up to the city and the state. Yeah.
We are an advisory committee. I would say that we have, from my observations of this over the last 6 or 8 years, is that our main function is to bring awareness to the neighbors within 300-foot radius of the property being developed or modified, so that those neighbors are aware of what's happening and that they can chime in whether they're pro or have any issues with the property. And then, as you said, some of these folks on the board have some expertise, and they'll bring that forward regarding anything that might be unsafe. But we have no agenda. I think originally the idea of the LUDRC was to protect the historic neighborhood, the historic character of the neighborhood. But maybe Charmaine might have a better idea about this. I'm not entirely sure that's still the case.
We do when the property is in the historic neighborhood area, because not all homes are in the historic neighborhood area, but it comes up whenever we're discussing a property, whether it is or isn't.
And that included last night where we talked about a relatively plain and simple home that didn't fit in with any of the architectural anything in our neighborhood. And the architect said they look at plans on way to make it a little more charming. You can't turn a 1,200 square foot little house into a Victorian, but maybe you can make it blend in a little bit better. I just wanted to kind of speak that because, a lot of neighbors are passionate and emotional, but we're not the city. And when it does come to really technical things, the city is going to advocate that the house is structurally stable and is not going to end up in Kate's backyard or my backyard in this case. But we can make sure the architects are aware of the challenges, and that speeds things along. So I just wanted to thank you all, and to remind people to be kind. Nobody is here to take anybody's side on anything. We are on the side of communicating and liaising between the community and the city and the applicants or the builders. Thank you. And thanks again. You two, you and Rod, it's just staggering. Y'all should sit in on one of these if it's in your neighborhood. Richmond CERT, while you're online, Charmaine?
What they're doing right now is organizing a kind of large regional evacuation. We had one at Brickyard Cove area about 2 or 3 years ago, where it was a complete evacuation of this particular region, neighborhood, maybe I should say. Anyway, they're doing that in the El Sobrante area. So I'm not sure when that's scheduled, but it's something they're working on right now.
And I can forward it when I get directive. It's kind of spearheaded by Council Member Vana, who's all about that. And I can't remember the initials, the East Bay Fire Emergency Prevention. She's spoken to us.
Yeah, the Fire Council. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm getting copied on those emails. And not to forget Bonnie Joe.
Oh, yes.
Tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Philip.
I highlighted you.
You've given me a very nice segue into what I have to say. The next talk that the History Association is sponsoring is indeed on architecture. It's the architecture of the coast with a case study, Point Richmond. And this talk will describe the evolution of architectural styles and trends in the Bay Area, with special focus on how the unique community and culture of Point Richmond has influenced the buildings we see in the neighborhood around us. The speaker is Caitlin Hibma. Caitlin is an architectural historian and historic resources consultant. Many of you may know her. She's on the Richmond Historic Preservation Commission, as well as a board member of the Point Richmond History Association. So this talk will be a week from tonight in the community center at 6:30. And again, we're partnering with the West Side branch of the Richmond Public Library. So very pertinent to what we were talking about tonight. So we'll see you next week, 6:30.
It sounds super interesting. I put it on my calendar. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I have one more thing. I would like to ask Peter what that bird is on his shoulder that I've been watching all night. What is that?
Oh, I thought that was Sue.
Oh, that's terrible.
This is Fluff. He's a 21-year-old Senegal parrot.
Here's the other bird.
They're about the quietest.
Oh yeah, now he's
quietest birds you can have as a pet, and pretty docile, as you can see.
He's very pretty.
Yep. And he's completely unaware that I'm monitoring a meeting. So every time I talk, he thinks I'm talking to him, and that's why he starts talking. And then we have another even smaller bird on Sue's shoulder. The two don't get along, so we have to keep them separate. So this is
I think that the little one, I bird sat years ago for like a month. and I had no parrot experience, but I think that I had fluff on my shoulder, and the little one came and crawled up and over my head and started fighting with Fluff and made him go all the way down to my hand. And
Oh
then
yeah,
he went behind my back and joined me on the other side, and the whole thing was in reverse. So, what's
yeah,
the other one's name?
Sydney.
Sydney. Sydney. If Sydney's the aggressive one, right?
yes,
Yes.
very
Yeah,
aggressive.
yeah. So, do y'all remember when I went to that meeting? I had a little blood on my ear. That was that one.
Yeah,
But
but now
they're
Sydney is on top of my computer.
So if
She's
you see a claw, it's Sydney's claw.
they are as sharp as tacks, those birds. Hey, so glad to see Kate. Kate, it's been a while. And what's going on with Magic Lantern? Kate, you didn't leave, did you? No, she was here a minute ago. We lost Kate. Oh well. Pram, I don't see
She's
Layla.
joining right now.
Oh, hi, Kate. You're muted.
Hello.
Hi, you dropped off. I was so glad to see you. It's been such a long time.
Well, it was at least the last 30 minutes I was taken out of the meeting, although listening and hearing and seeing everything. And I couldn't get back in, so I went out and came back. Here we go. Okay. So I don't know what happened, but I enjoyed the meeting immensely. Thank you so much. And just for Magic Lantern, we have our seventh movie for the year. It's going to be a, a, a really interesting film called for next month on the second on the 14th of March, the second Saturday, and we're going to be playing Mr. Nobody Against Putin, which is Denmark's film submitted on behalf of an individual who filmed in Russia. He's a videographer for a school, and then he felt his feelings and change in his environment when Putin militarized the schools. So he left. And this is the film that Denmark has submitted for on his behalf. It's pretty interesting, his experience in the schools and how that Putin became more militarized in their society and the change that the young people went through, and fascinating, and a heroic effort he's made. So I'm guessing he's in hiding somewhere in Denmark. Not to be, we don't know where he is, the general public right now. So anyway,
Is it a documentary style, Kate?
can you speak up?
Is it a documentary style?
It is the
film?
documentary style with his particular cartoons that are added in to bring humor and style to a film that he loved his kids and his students. He went to the school as a child and became the school's videographer. And then as Putin's activity increased in militarizing and taking young people away from their homes and their villages, he felt a change was necessary for him. So it's pretty interesting. So anyway, Denmark is submitting this to for the Oscars for their submission for international films.
Thank you. You always find something interesting, and for those of you who haven't attended, there is frequently really cool conversation after those.
Thank
Intelligent
you.
conversation. It's. I've said it 100 times. Kate, you are very, very good at this. You've
Thank
turned a
you.
hobby into turned a passion into something that you share. Anybody want to speak anything about Brickyard Cove homeowners? Nothing going on over there? The good news is we hear we're getting better lighting. So I'm going to try to send this chat. Yeah, we're almost done.
Hey,
Sorry.
Phil, art support Richmond.
Oh, March, I forget somebody else.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry.
So tomorrow, the watercolor class is going to be meeting at the library between 1 and 4, if anybody's interested. On March 12th, everybody's going to the MAC for a drink. March 12th is also International Art and Sound. You might see some art around town. Just people leave it out for you.
Margie, can we just leave, if we have a little piece of art around our house, like, can we leave some of those Point Richmond tunnel stuff?
Yep. Yeah.
So you just wrap it up and leave it somewhere?
Yep.
Great.
And say free. Artifacts has a new artist every month, and they're open on weekends. Point Richmond Gallery has John Worley coming March 15th to March 26th, and his art talk is going to be on the April 26th. And Take It Outdoors has got a new set of posters coming. You'll see that, and there's new art at Laura's Fine Dining.
Margie,
there's a lot going on.
Can you repeat what you said for March 12th? What did you say?
March 12th is International Art and Sound.
And you said go for a drink?
Oh, and also on March 12th, they're at between 4 o'clock and like 6 or whatever. Arts of Point Richmond goes to the MAC for a drink. So it's just
Just so
hour.
you know, Anna, every night this month of March is have a drink at the MAC night. Please call me.
Phil, there's one more. Women's West Side as well.
Did I miss you? I'm sorry.
But it's okay. Just have a real quick report. And that is because of Spring Fling coming up, we've been keeping up the gardens and they're in really good shape. And we're going to have one more big cleanup at the end of March before the Spring Fling.
Thanks. And I do understand that women's, even though the event is at Cram this year, the Women's West Side is going to try to set up a little table. It's just so cute. Help with the kids, wear the funny hat, your best spring hat. And if you signed up for a tree square, I deliberately did not take that list. A gentle reminder that it's tree square cleaning time. If you pass your tree square and it's clean, would you please help pull weeds on someone else's? Because most of them are kept up, but a few people dropped off of their tree squares and the dirt is wet, so the weeds come right up. So help with that as well. Anyone have any public forum comments or any new visitors or residents or businesses that would like to introduce themselves? We're whittled down. Okay. In remembrance and celebration. We have a question. Sorry, I just noticed. When do you see the documentary? Are you still with Kate? Could you just fill residents here? Oh, you did in the comments. March 14th, Saturday evening, 7:30 at the Methodist Church side entrance. Thanks. How can we not celebrate our homegirl, Alyssa Liu, for her gold medal? She is from Richmond. And if you didn't see it, go on YouTube and put in gold medal figure skater. She resigned 4 years ago. There was a lot she retired, burnt out and emotionally exhausted, and decided for fun that she would pop back into the game again, and she won the gold medal. And she is a local girl, and I'm proud of her. Any other remembrances or celebrations? All right, folks, thank you. I'm sorry you had to listen to me instead of Shasa, but at least the good thing is most of the questions were answered. Thank you all.
Thank you, Philip.
Next month we have the Watershed Project. I'll send it out. I can't remember already. Thank you so very much. We care about you. Let's keep an eye on things, weed your tree squares, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Edith.